The MiG-31 Foxhound stands out as one of the most remarkable products of the Cold War era. Conceived by the Soviet Union specifically to counter high-flying and high-speed threats like the American SR-71 Blackbird, this interceptor was built to excel in extreme environments. Today we're going to explore the origin story of the MiG-31, the technology that made it a marvel of engineering, and its role in reshaping aerial reconnaissance strategies during one of the most tension-filled periods in modern history. Buckle up as we dive into the speed, power, and legacy of the legendary MiG-31. From the mid-1940s to the mid-1990s, the Cold War drove global politics and permeated nearly every aspect of international relations. Military technology became a particular focus, spurring an arms race between NATO, led by the United States, and the Warsaw Pact, led by the Soviet Union. The era's defining characteristic was the relentless pursuit of an edge, whether in nuclear arsenals, naval power, tank battalions, or advanced aircraft capable of conducting surveillance and reconnaissance at unprecedented altitudes and speeds. One of the most pressing challenges for both superpowers was achieving supremacy in the skies. The United States introduced the SR-71 Blackbird, a reconnaissance aircraft that soared above Mach 3 at altitudes exceeding 80,000 feet. Existing Soviet fighters and many ground-based air defense systems struggled to match its performance, leaving critical gaps in the Soviet Union's defensive capabilities. For the Americans, peering into Soviet technology and gathering intelligence on technological developments became an essential component of their strategic posture. For the Soviets, it was crucial to develop interceptors that could counter or deter these spying missions. Thus, the interplay of speed, altitude, and stealth became a crucial battlefield of Cold War competition. Over time, both the Soviet Union and the U.S. funneled immense resources into aerospace research. The Soviets in particular recognized that protecting their vast airspace demanded more than incremental improvements. The realization that a significantly more advanced interceptor was needed inspired engineers to rethink what was aerodynamically and technologically feasible. This mindset brought forth the legendary MiG-25 Foxbat in the mid-60s and set the stage for its successor, the MiG-31 Foxhound. Now, before the MiG-31 appeared on the scene, the MiG-25 Foxbat set the standard for high-speed and high-altitude flight in the Soviet arsenal. Introduced in the mid-60s, the Foxbat was a response to the rumored existence of advanced American bombers and reconnaissance platforms. Powered by two monstrous Tumansky R-15B300 engines, the MiG-25 could, in theory, approach Mach 3. Although sustained speeds at that threshold were often reduced to avoid excessive engine wear and structural damage. Despite its record-setting climb rate and altitude performance, the MiG-25 was not without limitations. Its avionics were considered less sophisticated compared to Western standards of the day, and the design heavily used nickel-steel alloys instead of lighter, more heat-resistant titanium. This made the Foxbat somewhat unwieldy in terms of fuel consumption, range, and maneuverability. Nonetheless, it managed to carve out a reputation as one of the fastest operational jets in history, setting numerous speed and altitude records. It was, in many respects, an experiment in raw power, proving that the Soviet Union could indeed match American innovation in select areas of aircraft design. These Foxbats were formidable, but their shortcomings in radar technology, data link systems, and handling made it clear that a new interceptor was needed. Soviet leadership demanded an aircraft capable of sustained high-speed operation, enhanced avionics, and improved overall performance. The MiG-31 would incorporate the lessons learned from the Foxbat's strengths and weaknesses while introducing groundbreaking advancements in radar and weapon systems. By the late 1970s, the Soviet Ministry of Defense had a clear objective: create an interceptor that could outmatch the latest and most elusive Western threats. High-flying intelligence platforms like the SR-71 Blackbird, plus advanced bombers and cruise missiles, were high on the list of anticipated adversaries. The new interceptor needed to reach speeds of up to Mach 2.8, maintain high performance at extreme altitudes, and function effectively in subarctic or Arctic conditions given the Soviet Union's massive northern frontier. The Miokan-Gurevich Design Bureau rose to the challenge, drawing upon the MiG-25's airframe. Engineers set to refine aerodynamics, utilize more advanced materials, and significantly upgrade onboard electronics. The outcome was the MiG-31 Foxhound, officially unveiled in 1981. Although it bore a superficial resemblance to its predecessor, the MiG-31 was a nearly complete redesign beneath the surface, aimed at providing unparalleled interception capabilities. The aircraft featured a two-seat cockpit layout, something relatively unique for Soviet interceptors at the time. This choice was made to distribute the workload, with the pilot focusing primarily on flying, while a dedicated weapons system officer, or WSO, handled radar operations and targeting. The Foxhound also introduced the world's first phased array radar in a fighter aircraft, the Zeslon radar system, capable of tracking multiple targets at extended ranges. This leap in electronic warfare and avionics marked a turning point in the Soviet Air Force's approach to aerial interception. The MiG-31's design is a study in how engineers can push the envelope of speed, range, and altitude without sacrificing operational functionality. Building upon the MiG-25 structure, the Foxhound incorporated high-strength steel and titanium alloys in key areas, ensuring the airframe could endure the considerable thermal stress of sustained supersonic flight. The result was an aircraft robust enough to handle the rigors of high Mach numbers and extreme altitudes, yet refined enough to operate effectively in lower speed regimes. The Foxhound's fuselage is large, accommodating enormous internal fuel stores to support its powerful twin-engine arrangement. Its wing sweep is somewhat moderate, trading some top-end performance for better low-speed handling during takeoff and landing. At the aircraft's core are two Soloviev D-30F6 engines, which were more efficient than the MiG-25's power plants, granting the Foxhound superior fuel efficiency and allowing for extended range, better loiter time at high altitudes, and overall improved mission profiles. One of the more radical departures from previous Soviet fighter philosophy is the twin-seat arrangement. The front seat is reserved for the pilot, who oversees basic flight operations. The second seat hosts the WSO, who manages the sophisticated radar and avionics suite. This division of labor reduces pilot fatigue in high-stress scenarios and ensures rapid reaction times to emerging threats. The cockpit is equipped with advanced instrumentation, including electronic displays and automated data link systems that can share targeting information with other MiG-31s and ground control stations. When it came to harsh environments, Soviet engineers spared no effort. The MiG-31 was designed to operate in the frigid Arctic or remote Siberian outposts, which necessitated specialized engine inlets, robust landing gear, and reliable onboard systems that are able to withstand sub-zero conditions. Maintenance crews received specialized training, and air bases handling the Foxhound were outfitted with the necessary infrastructure to keep these powerful interceptors mission-ready at all times. In practical terms, the MiG-31 can dash to speeds around Mach 2.8, though operational constraints often keep it closer to Mach 2.5 for routine missions. It can reach altitudes exceeding 67,000 feet, intercept targets at extreme distances, and coordinate effectively with both ground-based and airborne controllers. In terms of dimensions, the aircraft measures roughly 22.69 meters in length, with a wingspan of about 13.46 meters and a height of around 6.15 meters. Its wing area is close to 61.6 square meters, and it weighs approximately 21,820 kilograms when empty, with a maximum takeoff weight of about 46,200 kilograms. The Soloviev D-30F6 engines produce around 21,600 pounds of dry thrust, jumping to about 34,000 pounds with afterburners engaged, enabling the Foxhound to climb at impressive rates and remain agile at high altitudes. Its ferry range can extend beyond 3,000 kilometers without refueling, although the combat radius is naturally shorter when carrying a full payload of weapons. The avionics suite, centered on the Zeslon phased array radar, can detect large targets at distances of up to 200 kilometers and track multiple threats simultaneously. The pilot and WSO can then engage several targets at once using long-range missiles, making the MiG-31 a lethal platform against diverse aerial threats. Unlike many single-seat fighters of the time, the MiG-31's cockpit is spacious, featuring improved instrumentation that feeds directly into a sophisticated data link system. This allows it to share and receive targeting info with other aircraft, creating a network of interceptors that can form a virtual shield across hundreds of miles. Together, 4 MiG-31s can theoretically control an enormous airspace by overlapping their radar coverage and coordinating intercept tactics. Arguably, the most impressive aspect of the MiG-31 is its radar and weapon system. The Zeslon radar was a groundbreaking phased array unit at the time of its introduction. Rather than relying on mechanical rotation, it electronically steers its radar beams, allowing faster scans of the sky and more flexibility in detecting high-speed targets. This grants the aircraft the ability to track multiple targets, some say as many as 10, while guiding long-range missiles to several of them all simultaneously. The primary missile historically associated with the MiG-31 is the R-33, or NATO designation is the AA-9 Amos, which is designed for beyond visual range engagements. This weapon can travel distances of up to 120 kilometers, depending on launch conditions, making it ideal for destroying targets operating at high altitudes and fast speeds. Later variants of the aircraft gained compatibility with even more advanced missiles like the R-37 or the AA-13 Arrow, which boast significantly extended range. For closer engagements, the MiG-31 can also deploy shorter-range missiles, offering versatility against a broad class of intruders. What truly sets the MiG-31 apart is its capacity for networked warfare. The aircraft's data link can coordinate with other Foxhounds in the vicinity or connect with ground-based stations to form an integrated air defense system. This synergy allows squadrons of MiG-31s to tackle large-scale threats such as waves of cruise missiles or coordinated bomber formations. The WSO's dedicated role means that complex radar readings and weapon systems can be managed more effectively, freeing the pilot to focus on flight maneuvers and broader tactical oversight. Few aircraft in aviation history capture the imagination like the SR-71 Blackbird, an American reconnaissance marvel that operated at altitudes exceeding 80,000 feet and could sustain speeds above Mach 3. Conventional Soviet interceptors struggled to even come close, and attempts to down an SR-71 using surface-to-air missiles were largely futile due to the Blackbird's speed and maneuverability at high altitude. Pilots of the MiG-25 occasionally attempted intercepts, but they lacked the advanced radar, data link capabilities, and versatile weapons that a true SR-71 killer would need. Enter the MiG-31. With its improved engines, better flight control systems, and more efficient aerodynamics, the Foxhound could patrol near the edge of the SR-71's operating envelope. Its Zaslon radar allowed for earlier detection, and the R-33 missiles had the range to threaten targets flying at extreme altitudes. Although no SR-71 was officially ever shot down by a MiG-31, the very existence of this advanced interceptor did pose a credible deterrent. American planners began to adjust flight paths, timing missions, and overall reconnaissance strategies to minimize the risk of a confrontation with this formidable aircraft. In essence, the MiG-31 didn't need to fire a single shot to reshape American planning. The possibility of successful intercept was enough to curb the Blackbird's freedom of action. The Cold War era was rife with stories of intercepted spy planes, near misses, and alleged shootdowns. The MiG-31, thanks to its reputation as a high-speed, high-altitude, and heavily armed interceptor, became the subject of many such accounts. While some stories turned out to just be propaganda designed to boost morale or intimidate the opponent, others were grounded in fact, but perhaps embellished over time. It's important to remember that both superpowers were extremely cautious about any direct engagement that might escalate tensions. Incursions near the border typically ended with the intruding aircraft being escorted away, rather than shot down. The Foxhound's advanced radar allowed pilots to shadow reconnaissance aircraft without necessarily firing upon them, serving more as a relentless guard dog than really a predator. Nevertheless, for pilots flying missions near Soviet airspace, the knowledge that MiG-31s were on high alert added a layer of psychological stress. Historical records that have since been declassified indicate that Soviet doctrine favored intercepting and escorting intruders out of sensitive areas rather than risking a global crisis with direct force. However, the mere fact that the MiG-31 existed, standing ready on various air bases across the Soviet Union, signaled to Western observers that the Soviets had subsequently narrowed the technological gap in high-altitude aerial interception. Across the Soviet Union's massive territory, radar coverage sometimes proved a bit spotty, especially in remote regions like Siberia or along the Arctic coast. Conventional interceptors simply didn't have the range to handle threats in these far-flung areas. The MiG-31's high speed and long-range capabilities made it a crucial force multiplier. By coordinating with ground control intercept stations through data links, squadrons of MiG-31s could sweep enormous swaths of sky, detecting and responding to potential incursions in record time. Defense planners also recognized the interceptor's relevance to nuclear deterrent strategy. Even if the MiG-31 itself didn't carry any nukes, its ability to intercept enemy cruise missiles or bombers, potentially carrying nuclear warheads, provided an additional layer of security. At a time when each superpower feared a preemptive strike from the other, such layered defense was a cornerstone of strategic stability. Maintaining this fleet of twin-engine supersonic interceptors was expensive, but Soviet leadership justified the costs by emphasizing national pride, strategic necessity, and the technical prestige of matching or surpassing American advances. Pilots chosen to fly the MiG-31 all received specialized training, and being assigned to a Foxhound squadron was considered a high honor within the Soviet Air Force. Even when not engaged in direct confrontation, the psychological impact of these aircrafts patrolling the edges of Soviet airspace played a role in how foreign militaries would plan their operations. When the Soviet Union collapsed in 1991, the newly formed Russian Federation inherited much of the MiG-31 fleet. Economic turmoil and shifting defense priorities led to severe budget cuts. Many MiG-31s were grounded, mothballed, or cannibalized for parts. Air bases struggled to maintain spare engines and complex avionics without robust financing from the Soviet era. Despite the challenges, the unique capabilities of the MiG-31 ensured that it wasn't consigned to a museum. Recognizing Russia's vast northern and eastern frontiers, defense planners continued to value an aircraft that could respond quickly to potential threats at high altitude. Though numbers were reduced, a core group of MiG-31 squadrons remained active, patrolling remote regions and maintaining a quick reaction alert status. Exporting the MiG-31 proved less feasible than with other Soviet fighters. Many nations found the cost prohibitive, and the advanced technology was not something Russia was eager to share widely. Some countries did express interest, and occasional rumors persist of potential sales to various governments, but few deals ever materialized in any kind of official capacity. The Foxhound remained largely exclusive to the Russian Air Force and a handful of successor states that inherited small numbers from the Soviet breakup. Recognizing the continuing need for a long-range interceptor, Russian authorities launched a series of modernization programs in the early 2000s. These upgrades aimed to prolong the service life of existing airframes while incorporating modern avionics, weapons, and radar systems. The most notable among these is the MiG-31BM variant. In the MiG-31BM, the venerable Zaslan radar is replaced or upgraded with a more advanced Zaslan AM, offering improved detection range and better processing power for tracking multiple targets. The avionics receive a digital overhaul with modern cockpit displays, refined navigation aids, and integration for newer missiles like the R-37, which could reportedly engage targets at distances well over 200 kilometers. The engines, which were still the Soloviev D-30 F6s, are upgraded and maintained to improve reliability and potentially allow higher operational tempos. These upgrades turn the Foxhound into a more capable and relevant interceptor in today's air combat environment, where threats include not just traditional bombers, but now advanced drones, stealth aircraft, and possibly even ballistic missiles. The Russian Air Force hopes to keep upgraded MiG-31s in service into the 2030s or even 40s, filling a niche that even multi-role fighters like the Su-35 or Su-57 might not cover as effectively in the vast isolated expanses of Russian territory. For years, rumors of a next-generation interceptor, often referred to as the MiG-41, have circulated. Reports suggest it could be a sixth-generation platform capable of sustaining hypersonic speeds, possibly above Mach 4, and operating at near-space altitudes. There have been speculation about advanced stealth features, next-level composites for dealing with extreme temperatures, and fully integrated AI-driven avionics that could automate portions of the flight or combat process. Russian officials do occasionally drop hints about such an aircraft, framing it as the natural successor to the MiG-31. Although images of conceptual designs and speculation about its capabilities have appeared in aerospace news, any hard evidence remains pretty elusive. Some experts believe the MiG-41 project is an evolution of earlier high-speed interceptor concepts, while others suggest that it may be more aspirational than practical, given the significant cost and engineering challenges involved. If it does come to fruition, the MiG-41 would likely replace the MiG-31 when those airframes eventually retire from service. It could mark another leap forward in high-speed, high-altitude interception, targeting not only enemy aircraft and missiles, but potentially near-space targets. In an era increasingly concerned with hypersonic weapons and advanced satellites, an interceptor capable of operating in that realm would represent a major strategic asset for any nation that can master such technology. The MiG-31 is an enduring symbol of Cold War ambition and engineering skill. Like its American contemporaries, the F-14 Tomcat or maybe the SR-71 Blackbird, the Foxhound exemplifies a period when superpowers poured immense resources into exotic high-performance aircraft. Its introduction in the early 1980s fundamentally shifted the dynamic of aerial reconnaissance along the Soviet borders, as Western pilots had to consider that this new interceptor could genuinely threaten even the fastest spy planes. In the decades since the Cold War ended, the MiG-31 has adapted to modern roles through ongoing upgrades and careful maintenance. Russia continues to rely on the platform for quick reaction alert missions, particularly in remote northern and eastern regions. Its ability to sprint toward intruders, coupled with a formidable suite of long-range missiles, has preserved the Foxhound's usefulness as a guardian of Russia's expansive skies. Moreover, the aircraft remains a valuable testbed for next-generation missile systems and radar technology. By retrofitting existing airframes, Russian engineers can experiment with and refine cutting-edge capabilities without committing to an entirely new design. Meanwhile, the rumored MiG-41 remains an intriguing glimpse into the future, a sign that the drive to push speed and altitude boundaries lives on. Jokes aside, the MiG-31 Foxhound, whether you see it as a relic of the Soviet past or still a potent warrior of the present, demands respect. Its design was revolutionary for its time, and its ongoing upgrades attest to how robust the original airframe and concept were. It stands as a testament to Soviet-era innovation while serving as a cornerstone of Russian air defense even today. The Mikoyan MiG-31 is more than just an interceptor. It's a symbol of Cold War ambition and ingenuity that still resonates in modern times. From its cutting-edge radar to its formidable speed, it's proven its worth as a guardian of the skies. We hope this deep dive has given you a fuller appreciation for this remarkable aircraft and the strategic chess match it shaped between the superpowers. And if you love exploring military aviation history, Cold War tech, or maybe just learning about awesome jets, be sure to subscribe and join our community of aviation enthusiasts. Your support helps us bring more in-depth content your way. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.